Ethan stood at the edge of the forest, the strange alien landscape stretching endlessly before him. He had never seen anything like it. The ground shimmered faintly under his boots like polished crystal, and the trees, if they could even be called that, rose like towers of glass, bending light in colors he didn't know existed. He had come to this distant planet to chart unexplored territory, a mission given to him by the Interstellar Exploration Agency, but nothing had prepared him for the beauty and strangeness of this place. Every step he took echoed softly, a hollow sound, as if the ground itself was alive and watching him. He raised his scanner and moved carefully, noting the strange readings. The energy signatures here were unlike anything recorded in human history. Small pulses of light flitted between the crystalline structures like miniature lightning bolts. It was mesmerizing, and Ethan found himself staring longer than he intended, caught up in the hypnotic glow. Then he saw her. At first, he thought it was another illusion caused by the reflections and the strange light. But as he focused, he realized she was real, a figure moving gracefully between the crystalline trees. Her skin glowed faintly, reflecting the ambient light like it had its own inner fire. She was tall, far taller than any human, and her form seemed elegant and impossible, like she had been carved from the crystals around her. Her hair, or what he assumed was hair, flowed like liquid silver, drifting as if underwater. Ethan's heart pounded. He knew he should take samples, record her appearance, or even retreat to avoid startling her. But he couldn't look away. Every instinct in his body told him to study her, to understand her, and yet something deeper, curiosity, fascination, maybe even fear, kept him rooted in place. She stopped suddenly and turned her head. Her eyes, luminous and sharp, locked onto his. And then he heard it, not with his ears, but in his mind, clear as if spoken aloud. "Why do you keep staring at me, human?" Ethan jumped back, heart leaping. He spun around, scanning the trees for another creature, but there was no one else. He realized slowly that the voice had come from her directly into his thoughts. Telepathy. She was communicating telepathically. I wasn't staring," he stammered, trying to keep his voice steady. "I mean, I'm exploring, I didn't mean." "You mean nothing," her voice said sharply, a thread of amusement hidden beneath irritation. "Yet you cannot look away. Why?" Ethan swallowed hard. He had been trained for first contact scenarios, but nothing had prepared him for this. An alien woman who could read his thoughts, judge his intentions, and who seemed both powerful and unapproachable. I just wanted to understand," he admitted, taking a cautious step forward. "I've never seen anyone like you before." She tilted her head, studying him like he was a curious insect. "Understand me? Humans rarely observe without fear or aggression, yet you watch, and you speak of understanding, curious." Ethan nodded, suddenly aware of how foolish he might look. He had imagined aliens as beings of science fiction, strange, yes, but predictable in their ways. Lyra, he decided to call her that after hearing her mutter the name of the forest in his mind, was unlike anything he had imagined. Her presence carried an authority that humans seldom encountered. Every movement, every glance seemed deliberate, as if the air around her bent to her will. He stepped closer, carefully, showing no signs of aggression. "I mean no harm," he said. I only wish to learn." She studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she moved forward, her steps silent, almost gliding above the ground. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to be cautious, but he remained still. The forest seemed to hold its breath. "You are brave or foolish," she said, almost softly this time. Her gaze didn't waver, and Ethan felt the weight of her attention like gravity itself. "Most beings flee or attack or fall to panic. You do none of these. Why?" "I think humans are," he hesitated, choosing his words carefully, "curious. We explore, we observe." "We want to know." Lyra's glowing eyes narrowed and she tilted her head. "Curiosity can be dangerous," she said, and the words were more of a warning than a statement. "And yet you risk yourself here, alone." Ethan nodded again, unsure whether she was challenging him or simply stating a fact. "I can handle danger," he said. "I've been trained, I know how to survive." For a moment she said nothing. Then she spoke, her tone sharper than before. "Survival is one thing. Understanding another. Most cannot do both. I will test you, human. If you fail, you will not leave this forest alive." Ethan's blood ran cold, but he held his ground. "I accept," he said with more courage than he felt. "I want to understand, I want to learn." Lyra's eyes shimmered, reflecting the crystalline trees around them. "Very well," she said. "Follow me, watch closely, learn quickly." She turned, moving through the forest with impossible grace, and Ethan followed. Every step she took seemed to alter the air, bending the light and energy around her. The forest responded to her presence, the crystal trees swaying slightly as though acknowledging her command. Ethan tried to keep pace, his every sense alert. He noticed tiny details, the patterns in the crystal, the way light shifted, the faint energy pulses that seemed almost alive. They reached a clearing where a massive structure floated above a crystalline lake. The building seemed alive, pulsing with soft, internal light. It was made of the same material as the trees, but shaped with precision and elegance that suggested intelligence beyond anything humans had created. "This is my domain," Lyra said, her voice echoing in his mind. "Here you will see what humans rarely witness." Ethan's eyes widened. He had studied alien structures, read countless reports, and even trained in xenology, but nothing prepared him for this. The structure's surface shimmered and shifted like liquid metal, and strange symbols floated in the air, glowing faintly. As he watched, the symbols rearranged themselves, forming new patterns as if responding to his presence. "Can you manipulate this?" Ethan asked cautiously. Lyra's gaze fell on him. "Not yet," she said, "and perhaps never, but watch, observe, learn." She extended a hand, and the symbols reacted instantly, forming a path over the lake's surface. "Step carefully," she warned. "One mistake, and you will be lost in the energy currents below. Humans are fragile, and curiosity can kill." Ethan took a deep breath, his heart pounding. Every instinct screamed caution, but every fiber of his being demanded he follow her. He stepped onto the path of symbols, which glowed under his weight but remained solid. Each step sent ripples of light through the lake, and the energy pulses seemed to recognize his presence, adjusting as he moved. Lyra walked beside him, her attention sharp. "You will not survive by strength alone," she said. "You must use your mind, your perception, and your intuition. Humans have these in abundance. Do not squander them." Ethan felt both terrified and exhilarated. Every step tested him, not physically but mentally. He had to read the energy patterns, anticipate shifts, and maintain balance. One misstep would send him plummeting into the glowing currents below. But with each successful step, he felt a strange confidence growing inside him. Lyra's eyes followed him, keen and unyielding. "Interesting," she muttered. "Most would falter, most would fail immediately, but you are different." Ethan managed a small, nervous smile. "I've faced danger before," he said. "I've learned to adapt." She regarded him silently for a moment, then allowed a flicker of what he could only describe as curiosity. It was the first time he sensed something beyond challenge or warning in her mind, a hint of something like intrigue, maybe even respect. The path led them to a platform at the center of the lake where the symbols coalesced into a circle. Lyra stopped, her gaze fixed on Ethan. "You have reached this far," she said. "Few humans do, but this is only the beginning. You will see wonders, yes, but also dangers beyond your imagination. Do you understand?" "I understand," Ethan replied firmly, even as his pulse raced. "I'm ready." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, and the energy around them pulsed in response. "Good," she said. "Then we begin. Watch closely, human. This is not a game. This is a test of mind, courage, and understanding. Fail, and you will not leave. Succeed, and perhaps you will begin to see why I allowed you to watch me." Ethan nodded, his heart a mix of fear and anticipation. He had never felt such a strange combination of awe, respect, and challenge. For the first time in his life, he realized that humanity's true strength was not weapons, technology, or even physical power. It was curiosity, courage, and the willingness to face the unknown. Lyra extended her hand toward the glowing center of the platform. Ethan stepped closer, ready to face whatever challenge she had prepared. The air shimmered, the symbols shifted, and the forest around them seemed to hold its breath. The alien woman watched him, unwavering, her gaze both intimidating and strangely approving. And in that moment, Ethan knew that this encounter, this test, this connection, would change everything he understood about humans, aliens, and the universe itself. He was ready. Ethan's feet rested lightly on the glowing platform as the symbols beneath him pulsed in rhythm with Lyra's gaze. Every time he moved, the energy reacted, shifting, flowing, and sometimes snapping back as if testing him. He realized quickly that this was no ordinary path. Lyra had created an environment that challenged both the mind and the body, where instinct alone would not be enough. "Focus," she said, her voice echoing in his mind again. "This is a test of awareness." You must feel the patterns, anticipate the shifts, and react accordingly. Hesitation will be punished. Ethan's heart raced, but he nodded, steeling himself. He had faced dangerous environments before, meteor storms, collapsing structures, and hostile planets, but nothing had prepared him for a test that was both physical and mental in perfect balance. He took a deep breath and moved forward. The platform shifted beneath him, altering its shape and angles. One moment it was a smooth, straight path, the next a twisting, curving bridge over the glowing lake. Ethan's training kicked in, analyzing the energy patterns and adjusting his steps. He noticed subtle changes in the light, flickers, ripples, and pulses that signaled the next movement of the platform. Step by step, he moved, every fiber of his being alert. Lyra followed silently, her presence both intimidating and oddly comforting. She did not intervene, yet he could feel her observation as intensely as if she were standing over him. "Humans are fragile," she finally said, "yet you persist, curious, clever. Do you understand the danger you face?" "Yes," Ethan replied, not taking his eyes off the shifting platform. "I understand, I'm not afraid." Lyra's gaze intensified. "You should be. Most beings die in moments like this. Most cannot read the flow, cannot predict the pattern, but you have something different." Ethan felt a flush of pride, though he kept it hidden. He realized that he was not just surviving the challenge. He was beginning to understand it, learning the rules of this alien environment. With each successful step, his confidence grew. Suddenly, the platform split in two directions. A series of glowing gates appeared, each marked with strange alien symbols. Ethan paused, studying the shapes. Lyra watched him, her eyes sharp. "Choose wisely. The wrong path will force you into the currents below." Few survive such mistakes. Ethan analyzed the symbols, recalling subtle patterns in their energy flow. He noted which symbols pulsed in rhythm with the surrounding lake and which seemed stagnant. Using intuition and logic together, he stepped through the correct gate. Immediately, the path stabilized, confirming his choice. Lyra's faint smile was visible only in the slight shift of her luminous features. "Impressive," she said. "You can see what most cannot. Humans are more adaptable than I expected." He continued, the path twisting higher now, revealing a breathtaking view of the forest below. Crystalline towers stretched endlessly, refracting light into a dazzling array of colors. Ethan's eyes widened in awe, but he forced himself to stay focused. Each step was critical, one misstep and he would be lost. Then, a sudden flash of light erupted from the platform ahead. Ethan jumped back instinctively, heart pounding. The symbols beneath him rippled violently, and energy currents swirled around his legs. He realized this was the first active challenge, a direct test of his reflexes and decision-making. Lyra's voice pierced his mind sharply. "React quickly, hesitate and the currents will pull you under. Act or perish." Ethan's training surged through him. He analyzed the energy, noted the current's direction, and leapt to a smaller section of the platform that had stabilized. Sparks of light danced around his boots as he landed, and the platform pulsed in approval. "You adapt quickly," Lyra said, her tone a mix of admiration and calculation. "Most would panic, most would fail, but you act with reason and instinct combined. Curious." Ethan swallowed, realizing that her admiration, however faint, was significant. Most beings he had encountered in his career, humans included, rarely gave praise without skepticism. Lyra's acknowledgement felt earned and rare. The platform shifted again, now forming a staircase that spiraled upward into the sky. Ethan noticed that the air around him began to hum with energy. Small fragments of light floated freely, forming shapes that resembled creatures he had never seen. Some swirled gracefully, others darted quickly like sparks of fire. He realized that the environment itself was alive, responding to Lyra's presence and his own movements. "Do you feel it?" Lyra asked, her voice soft but commanding. "The energy of this place, the consciousness of the structure, it is aware human. Many cannot survive its awareness, many crumble under its pressure. You persist." Ethan nodded, feeling the hum vibrate through his bones. He felt almost connected to the energy, sensing its subtle shifts. "I feel it," he admitted. "I can understand it in some way." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, a sign of her interest. "Curiosity is valuable, courage even more so, but empathy is rare. You approach not just with caution, but with respect. That is unexpected." They reached the top of the staircase, where a massive crystalline chamber opened before them. The walls shimmered with flowing patterns, each more intricate than the last. Ethan stepped inside cautiously, taking in the vastness of the space. Lyra turned to him, her expression unreadable. Here is where you will face the greatest challenge. It is not strength, not agility, not even intelligence alone that will allow you to succeed. It is the combination of all three, and more importantly, the human qualities that I find intriguing. Ethan took a deep breath. He had survived the platform, navigated the gates, and evaded the energy currents. Yet he felt the weight of her words, understanding that this challenge would push him beyond anything he had faced. Suddenly, the chamber walls began to shift, forming a labyrinth of glowing corridors. Each corridor pulsed with energy, and the air shimmered with latent power. Ethan realized that this was a test of strategy and perception. He would have to navigate the labyrinth using both logic and intuition, responding to changes that were impossible to predict without careful observation. Lyra's presence hovered nearby, silent but intensely observant. "Most fail here," she said. "They are trapped by fear, by confusion, by their own limitations. But you have shown resilience. Let us see if you can maintain it." Ethan stepped forward, placing one foot into the first corridor. The walls pulsed, and the floor responded, solidifying under his weight. He felt the labyrinth testing him immediately, shifting patterns and shapes, creating illusions and false paths. His mind raced, analyzing, calculating, adapting. Hours seemed to pass as he moved through the corridors, each step more challenging than the last. He encountered areas where gravity seemed to bend, where light distorted, and where energy waves threatened to knock him off balance. Yet with each challenge, he adapted. He observed the subtle signs, the small shifts in the environment, the faint resonance that signaled the correct path. Lyra watched silently, occasionally whispering hints into his mind. "Focus on the patterns, human, not the illusion, but the flow." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Ethan reached the center of the labyrinth. A platform rose from the ground, floating above a pool of shimmering energy. At the center of the platform, a glowing crystal hovered, radiating warmth and light. Ethan realized that this crystal was the culmination of the test, the reward, but also a key to something far greater. Lyra appeared beside him, her glow brightening. "You have done well, human. Few survive this labyrinth. Fewer understand it. You have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and intuition, all human qualities that I find admirable." Ethan looked at her, feeling a strange mixture of pride, relief, and awe. I didn't know I could do this," he admitted. "I just kept moving, kept observing, and tried to think ahead. I wanted to survive and understand." Lyra's eyes softened slightly, a gesture almost imperceptible. "Understanding is the beginning of trust. Trust is rare in my experience with humans, but you show promise." The crystal pulsed, sending waves of light through the chamber. Ethan felt its energy coursing through him, a sense of connection to the labyrinth, to Lyra, and perhaps to the universe itself. He realized that this was not just a test of survival, it was a test of human potential. Lyra spoke again, her voice calm but commanding. "You have earned this, human, but know this, the true challenges are yet to come. You have demonstrated courage and intelligence, but the universe is vast, and not all beings will react as I have. Remember what you have learned here. Remember the strength of humanity." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had faced danger, confusion, and the unknown, and survived. But more importantly, he had demonstrated qualities that even a powerful alien being found remarkable: curiosity, courage, and empathy. As they left the chamber, Ethan realized that his journey with Lyra was only beginning. He had glimpsed the potential of humanity, seen the value of his species in a way that few others could. And he knew, deep in his heart, that this encounter would change the course of his life, and perhaps even the course of human history. Lyra turned to him, her eyes glowing softly. "You have done well, human, but the next phase of our journey will test more than your mind or body. It will test your understanding of connection, of loyalty, and of the choices that define who you are. Are you ready?" Ethan met her gaze, resolute. "I am ready," he said. Lyra's faint smile was the only acknowledgement he received, yet it carried more meaning than words ever could. Together, they stepped into the unknown, leaving behind the labyrinth, but carrying with them the lessons of courage, curiosity, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. And in that moment, Ethan knew that the universe was vast, dangerous, and beautiful. But with human ingenuity and determination, there was no frontier they could not explore, no challenge they could not face, and no alien being whose respect they could not earn. Ethan followed Lyra. As they left the labyrinth behind, the crystal forest stretched endlessly in every direction, yet this time it felt different. The air no longer hummed with challenge or threat, but with quiet, vibrant energy, as though the forest itself was acknowledging Ethan's survival and Lyra's approval. He could feel a subtle shift in her presence, something softer, less guarded, yet still commanding. "You have passed the trials," Lyra said, her voice resonating gently in his mind. "Few humans reach this point. Fewer still understand what they have encountered. You have done more than survive, you have learned, and in doing so you have shown the potential of your species." Ethan swallowed, amazed at her words. I didn't just survive," he admitted. "I tried to understand, to learn what you wanted me to see. I tried to respect your world." Lyra's gaze softened, a rare expression for someone of her kind. "Respect and understanding," she said slowly, "are qualities that are often overlooked by many species. They are the foundation of trust, and trust is the most fragile yet powerful force in the universe." Ethan nodded. He felt a sense of pride, but also humility. He had survived impossible challenges, navigated alien technology and energy, and even faced illusions that threatened to disorient him completely. Yet the greatest lesson was not just survival, it was connection, empathy, and the ability to act with reason and courage under pressure. "You understand much," Lyra said, "but the greatest test is yet to come, not of skill or intellect, but of choice." Ethan frowned, unsure what she meant. Lyra led him to a glimmering cliff that overlooked the crystal lake, its waters reflecting the light of two distant suns. At the edge of the cliff floated a structure, delicate yet imposing, like a bridge of light extending into the horizon. Ethan could sense that this was no ordinary path. It pulsed with latent energy, resonating with an intelligence he could not fully comprehend. "Step forward," Lyra instructed. "Here, your actions will define more than your survival. They will define your place among the stars and in my world." Ethan took a deep breath and approached the floating structure. As he walked, he noticed that the energy around him responded to his thoughts and intentions. The platform adjusted to his weight, creating a path where none seemed to exist moments before. He realized this was another test, not just of mind or reflexes, but of character. The structure was aware, and it would respond to honesty, courage, and empathy. Lyra followed silently, observing him closely. Most beings see only the path. They fail to perceive the connection between themselves and the environment. You feel it, you respect it. That is rare, human. Ethan reached the center of the floating bridge, where a massive crystal pulsed with light. The crystal seemed alive, its patterns shifting as if trying to communicate. He could feel a resonance deep within him, a subtle echo that aligned with his heartbeat. The crystal's energy was powerful yet strangely gentle, and he realized that it was a repository of knowledge, perhaps of her entire species. "You may take knowledge," Lyra said, her voice calm, "but it will not be given lightly. You must prove your intent." "Why do you seek understanding?" Ethan paused, considering his words carefully. "I seek knowledge to learn, not to conquer. I seek understanding to connect, not to control. I want to know more about your world, about you, because curiosity and respect guide humans more than power ever does." The crystal pulsed brighter, and Ethan felt its energy flowing into him. Visions flashed in his mind, glimpses of alien cities, the flow of energy through their world, their history, their science, and their struggles. He felt connected, not just to the crystal, but to Lyra and her species. The experience was overwhelming, yet it filled him with clarity. He could see patterns, possibilities, and the potential for cooperation between their species. Lyra's gaze lingered on him, her expression unreadable. Few beings can handle even a fraction of this knowledge. Few could maintain their self in its presence. You have done more than most. You have proven that humans are capable of understanding, and more importantly, respecting, forces beyond their comprehension. Ethan staggered slightly, feeling the weight of the knowledge he had absorbed. Yet he felt a strange serenity. He was no longer just a human observer. He was a participant in a larger story, one that spanned species, worlds, and even the stars themselves. "You have passed every challenge," Lyra said, her tone now softer, almost reverent. "And yet the final test is not of intellect or skill, it is of choice. You may leave this world with knowledge and insight beyond any human before you. Or you may stay and continue to learn, to connect, to understand. The decision is yours. Ethan felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Leaving meant returning to humanity, to familiarity, and to the life he had known. But staying meant exploring deeper connections, facing unknown dangers, and committing to a bond that could change the course of his existence. He thought of the trials he had overcome, the lessons he had learned, and the respect he had earned from Lyra. He began, struggling to find the right words. I want to understand more, I want to learn, I want to see the universe and see it through your eyes. Lyra's expression changed subtly, a faint smile illuminating her glowing features. Then you choose wisely, human. You have demonstrated courage, intellect, and respect. These qualities make you worthy of trust and of connection. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of accomplishment and belonging unlike anything he had ever known. He realized that he had earned not just Lyra's respect, but her trust. And more than that, he had proven the value of humanity in a universe filled with beings far older and more powerful than humans. Lyra extended her hand toward him, and Ethan took it without hesitation. The contact was brief, yet he felt a surge of energy, a connection deeper than physical touch, a bond formed through mutual respect, understanding, and shared experience. You have earned a place here, she said. Not as a subject, not as a student, but as a companion. Humans are rare in this sector, and most fail to see the potential within themselves. You have succeeded. Ethan looked out at the floating structures, the crystal forest, and the vast lake stretching below. He thought of the trials, the labyrinth, the shifting platforms, and the energy currents. He thought of every challenge he had faced and every choice he had made. And he realized that it was not just his skill or courage that had brought him here, it was his humanity. Lyra continued, her voice calm but imbued with authority. You have proven that humans are not to be underestimated. They are capable of ingenuity, empathy, and courage beyond measure. And you have shown that even in the face of the unknown, you can rise to meet it with intelligence and heart. Ethan felt a profound sense of pride, not in himself alone, but in his species. He had faced impossible challenges, survived trials designed to test the strongest beings, and earned the respect of one of the most powerful aliens he had ever met. Yet he remained humble, knowing that this was only the beginning of his journey. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the crystal forest, Lyra led him back to the edge of the platform. The air shimmered with energy, and Ethan felt the subtle pulse of life around him. He knew that he had been given a rare opportunity, not just to survive, but to learn, to connect, and to demonstrate the best qualities of humanity. Remember this, human, Lyra said. Curiosity, courage, and respect are the greatest strengths of your kind. Never let them be overshadowed by fear or arrogance. You have seen what humans are capable of. Do not forget it. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. I won't, he said firmly. I will carry this with me, not just for myself, but for all humans. We are capable of more than we know. Lyra's eyes glowed softly, a gesture of approval and acknowledgement. Then go, human, take what you have learned and let it guide you. And remember, you are never truly alone, even in the vastness of space. There are connections to be made, bonds to be formed, and understanding to be shared. You have earned your place among the stars. Ethan took a final look at Lyra and the glowing forest, feeling a deep sense of awe and gratitude. He had faced the unknown, proven his worth, and discovered a connection that transcended species. And he knew that this was only the beginning. His journey and humanity's potential stretched farther than he could have ever imagined. As he prepared to leave, the crystal lake shimmered, reflecting the light of the suns and the brilliance of Lyra's world. Ethan felt a surge of hope, determination, and pride. He had survived impossible challenges, earned the trust of a powerful alien, and witnessed the extraordinary. And he knew that humanity's greatest strengths, courage, curiosity, and empathy, would continue to guide him wherever the stars might lead. With one last glance at Lyra, Ethan stepped forward, ready to face the universe with the knowledge, wisdom, and confidence he had gained. He was human, and that alone was enough to astonish, inspire, and survive in a universe full of wonders beyond imagination. And somewhere deep within the crystal forest, Lyra watched him go, a faint smile on her face, knowing that she had witnessed something rare, the true strength of a human heart.